Okay, and here maybe it's better if I explain why you are with us and why I invited you. How I came across your name was because of the UNI competition, a faith
Yeah.
competition. One of our teams submitted an design to there, and they got the People's Choice Award. They got it, but they were a little bit disappointed about that because what they asked was um, some interpretations, some comments from the jury, but nobody commented them. They were a little bit sorry about that. So I thought that inviting you and chatting about competitions in general, your experience in competitions in general. I know why you didn't write anything to them, and it doesn't
I
matter
try
if
to
you write or not, but
I try to write to almost every entry in the competition, but so probably my comments were to the entries that I liked the most,
sure.
and the entries I didn't like. The entries in the middle, because I saw again the table of after talking to you by mail. I saw again the table and my classification on the list of all entries, and microcosmos was in the middle. So I think I didn't comment I comment the ones I enjoyed the most and the ones I didn't like at all. So
good. So it means that they don't have to disappoint. They don't have to feel so big disappointment about it. Maybe being in the middle is also a good thing. Not very good, of course. They will be very good in the near future, but they're not so bad either. It's good to hear that. Thank you very much.
Okay. And for me, competitions is a way of testing our ideas, what you believe. You have a briefing and you should should answer to that briefing, and you can propose what you believe. It doesn't mean that the jury will believe in it or not, but you have to do it as you believe. So if you win, it's a nice thing because you can build the proposal or the building. If you don't win, probably you should ask yourself what are you putting outside in your work that's not reaching people. So or in this case, jurors, because you won the people's choice. So you reach the main public, but not the jury. And we should ask these questions after the competitions. I did a lot myself. So I can tell you about 20 competitions I did, almost that I have 3 prizes only. So is a little bit like that. So we have to propose and then wait if people believes in our ideas or not, or what we are proposing, because this faith competition, it was very open. Even the program was not established, so the interpretation of the program was very different between each work. There are teams that oversize the construction, in my opinion, and there are other teams that did just a little pavilion, just a little space with a completely different approach. So it was very, very open. So I tried to evaluate according to the criteria of the criteria of the competition briefing. So that was my job on this.
I see. So thank you very much for this long and precise explanation. So they don't feel sad anymore, but it's a process that they have to learn from, not to feel sorry about, but they can learn from. I see some of our students here in front line. Is it possible you close your video, Furkan? Photograph. Is it possible, Vitor, you open your Gizemciğim, bunları ayarlayabilir misin?
Sorry.
Yes, good. Okay. Tamam. Okay. So let me ask you, start from the general. I want to ask you something about, in general, about the competitions. What do you think about architectural design competitions in general? Are they useful in obtaining the best design? Why don't we commission a star architect, for example, but we open it to others and open it to adventure and open it to the unknown by opening a design competition? So what is the advantage of competitions compared to giving the job to a trusted person? What people gain from competition?
I think we, in my opinion, for example, just to, in Portugal, you have, in Portugal, in some other countries that I have entered competitions, we have two types of competitions. You have competitions by invitation, like the promoter invites 5, 6, 10 architects to do this competition, or you have open competitions. I prefer the open competitions. I myself, I'm a young architect. I'm just 40, so I don't have a lot of buildings done, constructed. So I need to create my portfolio, and I need to create to apply to bigger buildings. So open competitions for me, they are preferable than the closed competitions. And I think what I said before is very important. So when you do a competition, you have to believe in your ideas. You have to believe in your thoughts and your interpretation of the site, and you have to have a clear answer to that specific problem. So problem or not problem, but specific program. And it's a way of testing ourselves, because in a little amount of time, we need to communicate a building idea, and hoping that the others understand our idea, and when we reach good results is very good, because it's like we are proving ourselves that we are in the right way. So for me, competitions, they are nice if they are fair, because there are some that are not fair, and probably you know that. But I try to apply only to the competitions when I see that organizers are architectural orders of each country, and there's some organism behind the organization of the competition. I don't participate in any competition promoted only by promoters, because I think they are not fair. So when I see there's the Portuguese College of Architects, or I did one to Greece with the Greek College of Architects that was organizing. So it seems fair to me, because I know that's an organism over there that is supervising the competition. So I prefer this kind of competitions, and not commercial competitions. I think they are not fair. Sometimes it's just to get ideas from for free. So
yes, I understand you. So why do you think people are opening competitions then? They would give the job to a person who they know, who they believe in, or they could give the job to the person to whom that they believe that return as exactly what they are looking for. So why people are opening competitions? Is it for finding the best idea, or finding a new person because they want to get rid of the old ones? Is it because new ideas are necessary for the world nowadays? So what is the motive behind asking, what is the motive behind opening such kind of competitions? Not the ones invited, but open competitions.
Mhm. I think they want to be surprised. I think the promoters want to be surprised. They want to um, have an idea that they probably wouldn't have if they invite some of the architects they already know the work. So when we invite, for example, star architects for competition, of course, each project is different, but they know already the language of each architect. They know already the way of work and a possible design. They know already the language of the architect, and when they do open competitions, they are reaching for fresh ideas, I think, and to be surprised, to someone give them a building idea that they don't expect. I think so.
So the jury wants to be surprised, so that the design should also have something to surprise people.
Yeah, and sometimes could be something very simple. I can tell you, for example, in this specific competition, Faith, the project that I liked the most was a very, 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 very simple project. Not I did give a good mark to the project who won, but it was not my favorite. It was not my highest score. So I can tell you that in the overall of all juries, this proposal won, but it was not the favorite. My favorite. I had another project that I give a higher classification, and what surprised me on this project, it was very simple. It calls, if they want to see on you and I, there is the Cathedra Pavilion, and it was like just a pavilion with a round circle that could be a room, just a room, and this was made with chairs that you
Yes, I
can
see.
take off and put the chairs around the pavilion. And because they did the roof in reflective steel, it reflects the nature and the surroundings. So it's a very simple proposal, in my opinion, very easy to construct, and it fulfill all the project's briefing, and in a very simple and surprised way for me. So it was it was the proposal I enjoyed the most on this specific competition. I said to a colleague of mine, because I did my classification, then I share with a colleague of mine, for she saw what I did on the classification, and before submitting my marks, I told her, what do you think? And she said to me, this one, it was the Cathedra Pavilion. It was her favorite too. And the other one that won the jury vote, it was not my favorite, but she said to me, you could do this proposal. So she felt that the one that the long one that won she told me, this could be yours. You could do this, because the language of that project was very similar to my way of of doing architecture. So, but it was not my highest score because the other one surprised me. So.
So good. You were, as a jury member, you were not looking for a design that would be similar to yours or resemble yours, but you were looking for something that would surprise you.
Yeah.
That would make you think that you didn't think before, you didn't imagine before.
Yeah, I didn't evaluate the projects because of their language. I try to and it doesn't matter if that, for example, I'm not close to Zaha Hadid architecture as an architect, but I can see quality in their in her buildings. You understand?
Yes.
And I try to do this on this competition, not. I didn't choose the projects that were close to my language. I try to evaluate each proposal on itself, and if it fits the competition briefing or it doesn't fit. So I try to be fair in that sense.
Okay. When you're writing about yourself and your architecture, you refer to Bachelor, Zumthor, and some other people as well who think architecture has some poetic side. What about this poetic side and competitions? Do you think that they can come together? They came together in this competition phase because some poetic space was asked, was requested, but when you consider some other competitions nowadays getting on nowadays, for example, post-pandemic world competitions are very worldwide. So do you think that we have space for Zumthor or Bachelor type of thinking, the poetic, silent, introvert spaces have place in competitions? How they come together? Because competitions are really competitive environments, and you said that you should surprise the jury. And when we consider this, usually this surprise comes from too much noise, too much exhibiting architecture, lots of colors, lots of shapes, some parametric design or something else. I don't know. It's a very showy world. So how do you think all these silence and poetic side and this world of competitions, what's going on nowadays, come together? Can they come together?
I think so. I think they can come together. Sometimes it's difficult because there's a lot of architects in the world, and there's a lot of visions of architecture in the world. So I'm closer to simple things, to materiality, to a more silent architecture than a more exuberant one. But there's place for everyone in the world. So, and sometimes I can be surprised by buildings that they're not exactly my cup of tea. So I think there's room and there's space for everyone. Probably when you do a simple building or a simple proposal or a design reaching this kind of poetic idea, you need to communicate it better by the drawings you put on the panels. The design should, the atmosphere of the building should start in the design and in the drawings itself, the expression of the drawings. So we need to find a language to communicate what we want people to feel. And I think the paradigm is starting to change a little bit, and you can notice, for example, last 3 or 4 Pritzker prizes,
Mm-hmm.
they are not exuberant, and they are, for example, like Atom e Vassal is not exuberant. They work with manufactured materials, economic. It's a construction of economy in the construction, very, very. How can I say, concerned with the environmental questions. So I think the paradigm starts to change. I think all that noise of the millennium architects starting to I see another kind of approach, more concerned in the environmental questions, and we don't need too much space. We need good spaces. Reconstruction is a topic right now because there's a lot of construction in the world, and we should reduce the construction and rebuild what we have constructed already. But there's Dubai is everywhere, so there's a place for everyone, I think.
So I see that you are hopeful for the near future's architecture to be more related with Peter Zumthor and Plasma and Bachelor. The more silent it will get, maybe we will go a little bit far from the very showy, very exuberant architecture to a more environmentally friendly and more modest one.
I don't know if it will be like that. It's what I believe. You understand? It's what I believe. It's not. I don't know if it will be like that, but it's in what I believe as an architect. So I think people need good spaces, and the poetic concern must be. If you are doing a house for chicken, it can be poetic. You understand? Beauty could exist everywhere, so we just need to pay attention to nature and respect it, and nature gives us all, the place gives all the things you need to build a building. You just need to pay attention. Sometimes we reach that, and when we do is very is for me for example, I can tell you about the church, for example, that is the communitary building, and I received some nominations and some prizes with that building. But for me, it's more important when I go to the little town there, and I'm going to have a coffee on the other side of the street, and the old ladies come to me and they said they enjoy to be inside the building, and they feel peace and they feel silence. And for me, it is more important. I reached what I wanted. So and people that doesn't understand architecture just feel the building in a simple way. If they tell me they feel this and that, okay, my concerns, they were reached. So I'm pleased. It's more pleasant for me to hear the feedback from the people who uses the building than a prize that is analyzed by, for example, in the Frate Sole prize. I was my project was analyzed by I'm forgetting the Tadawando, for example. It was analyzing my project. So I respect Tadowando's opinion, but for me, the old lady opinion is very important too.
Okay, I understand. What about when you are starting to design for a competition? As far as I understand, nature and existing environment is very important for you. What else works for you? How do you collect information? I know that you are also a photographer. You have the education of photography. Does it help, for example, or you use it for some other purposes? I mean, how do you start? What's your design process?
Photography is very important for me as design. It's photography for me is like I'm collecting things. It's condensing my observation. It's like I put on a
Observation
picture.
about the environment, or what kind of observation?
I just let me. I don't photograph architecture, for example. For example, in my site, almost the photographies of my buildings are taken by other photographers that are specialized in photographing architecture. This is not the type of photography I do. I photograph in this sense. I go for a walk with my machine and I just take pictures of things, of atmospheres, of sometimes it's light, sometimes it's a shadow, sometimes it's very abstract photographs, but they have some atmosphere that then when I'm designing and starting to draw to draw the building, I remember these atmospheres. And so, for example, sometimes I'm doing a drawing and I remember, oh, that light that was on this place. And I go and I search on my photograph portfolio. Oh, this is this picture. And I try to, and I start to imagine how to reproduce this kind of atmosphere. You understand?
Okay, so you just grasp the atmospheres and you try to translate them or transfer your designs. Is that how you start all the time, or is it your methodology, or it happens sometimes, but sometimes some other things happen?
For example, I use photography as it's like a big amount of photos that I put there, and sometimes it's just for helping my memory. It's like they help me memorize some spaces or some little aspects that I saw. Then I want to translate that into architecture. But I always start my projects by walking and walking and walking and walking on the site. And when I can't go to the site, I go Googling every information I can obtain from the site. For example, when I did the competition to Greece, I was not in Athens and I couldn't go there, but we have the competition information they gave us. And then we start to do a research about the place, not only the place, the near surroundings, but all the area. And I was like walking on Google Maps, all the streets, because I want to feel the atmosphere of the place. And then I choose a competition if I have a clear idea to that building or to that specific program. I have to have an insight, and sometimes I don't have. And when I don't have, I don't feel secure, and I don't go for that competition. I go for another one. So I have to have an insight, something very clear, not the whole idea of the project, but like a starting point. I cannot explain you better, but I have to have an insight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very, very glad to hear that, because last semester and this semester in Studio Think Imagine, we are working under the theme of choose and compete. It's not only let's compete or please compete, but it is choose and compete. I think choosing competition is as important as designing for it, submitting to it. You should be choosing something that you feel sympathy for, interest for, an insight for, an opinion or some feelings behind. If you feel disconnected, then don't choose it.
Yeah, sometimes it's very abstract. For example, when we choose the competition to Greece, there was another competition in Finland for a school that we were, do we go for this one or do we go for that one? And I said to my team, for this one, I have an insight. For that one, the place doesn't tell me nothing. So I prefer to do this one. And the price was lower than the other one. So we choose the one we felt we had an insight. I know what I want there, and the place doesn't communicate to me. So I prefer to do the Greece competition, and it was good because we won the first honorable mention, and it was well paid. So, and they paid us. So it was and it was like that. I had an insight for that specific project, and sometimes we need to choose what we feel closer to. I think it's very important what you were saying.
Okay. So you use Googling a lot as a technique, and you use your photography for having some inspiration and atmospheric value. And what else? I mean, what else do you use in order to boost your design?
I draw a lot.
You draw a lot. You do
for
the hand
example,
drawing, or you just draw it
hand
on
drawing.
Hand drawing.
Hand drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I start to visit as what I was saying, I start to visit the place a lot by myself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I go with other members of the team just to have another opinion, and then I just let like a week everything on my head, and then I start to draw, and I start always with aquarelle drawing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like just forms, just not very abstract, just like stains. You understand?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And then I start to start to make the puzzle and fit the program, and then when I have the project drawn on my hand, I pass to the computer, and we start to do the first schemes in computer and the first 3D. Sometimes we do models, hand models. Because hand models they are very easy to change. For example, in computer you need a lot of time. When we go to computer, we want to do everything right because the precision is very accurate. So what happened here? I don't know.
Somebody else's.
And for example, when you go to, I don't like to go to the computer on the early phase of the projects, because the computer is very accurate. So you need to give it measures, and you don't know already. You just start trying forms or trying spaces. So and it's like you go to the computer and you want to do the execution project, but you are still in the concept project. So I prefer to go step by step when I have time. I wish I had more time to think and to write about architecture. Sometimes I don't have that time. Sometimes we just need to go quickly. So it depends of each project. I would like to have more time to the conceptual phases of the project, but sometimes we don't have that time.
Okay, does it differ if you are designing for a competition and when you're designing for a normal process? I mean, to a client, for example.
No, the process.
Your design process is always the same for you.
Always the same form. Okay. Always the same. I choose to do competitions when I have little work of private demand. So when the office, when we are, all the works are starting to go out, we don't have new ones, so we can do a competition. It's a little bit like that. But if with the clients is different. The difference between in the two processes, when you are on the competition, you don't have an interlocutor on the other side. So you have to read all the information and you will propose what you believe. With clients is different, because we have to make a confidence relationship, a trusted relationship between each other. They have to trust you and you have to trust the clients. So and we have to know them as people, or as a group of people, if you are doing a communitary building. So for example, in the church project was very interesting. We did some sessions with the population on the amphitheater of the town, and the first one, because we were afraid they wouldn't accept contemporary architecture, because it's very conservative town. So people had that idea of a church with a roof and with a tower, and we want to test this on the community. So I did like an introduction of the Christian space between the Paleo-Christian till today, and just explaining people why Baroque is like that, why Gothic is like that, and then gave them some examples of contemporary architecture in Christian churches, architecture, and people. It was very nice, because I felt that they started to think in a Christian space in a different way, a way for now, and not a response from the 18th or the 17th century. So and we learn a lot when we talk to people. We learn a lot. And then there's, for example, in a project like a church, probably with a mosque, it will be the same, or with another religion space will be the same. You have, everything is symbolic. Putting this on this side or on that side means different things. So we have to study a lot. I needed to study a lot to make good decisions on the project. You understand? For example, a liturgist, a Christian liturgist, then that analyzes the church, he can say that if I am more conservative, less conservative, more orthodox, less orthodox, more in the edge, less in the edge. You understand? They because everything has a meaning. In probably in Muslim culture, it is the same, with a different kind of symbolic elements, but the same. And we need to study. I read a lot. I'm almost a priest, because I had to read a lot of books. I'm not Christian myself. I don't have religion, so I needed to study a lot to understand the beliefs, to understand the community, to understand the symbolism. So it's very important to do this work. Sometimes we need to study to do architecture, because there are some programs that arrive that we don't know nothing about. For a house, everyone lives, but a church is different.
Sure. All problems do not come from the world we know. It can come from a totally unknown world and totally unknown people. Sometimes societies also show reaction to different things. Yeah, okay, this is what happens in a normal situation with the client. I want to go back to the competition issue. What happens if you are just through the end of the process, but you are still not satisfied? You are still living problems, and you feel that no, this is not the thing I want to do. Then what do? You throw it away, or you just submit whatever it is?
I try to submit the best I can, and I really don't like to work for a month on a project and then just put it in the garbage. So when the proposal, when you don't feel that proposal is good enough, I test it. I just send the proposal the best I can, and sometimes I feel it will not be good, the result, but it was the best I could do on that specific project. But a good thing in the competitions is that you manage to create boundaries in the team, because you need to be quick and you need to think quickly. So and everyone needs to work quick, because we don't have too much time. And this is very good. For example, the competitions in the office were a way of melting, creating union in the team, and a good process of work and quick process of work and organization. So that is nice. I think is a good thing of the competitions. Then when you go to a client's work or project, you are more accurate, you are quickly doing things and changing the tasks between the team. And it is very nice on a team dynamic, you understand, is I think it's a great exercise, even if when you are not sure about the quality of the proposal. But I don't like to put things on the rubbish. I just throw away and then we see. And one competition is just a project. I can say to you that 70% of the projects I've done were not constructed. So for this reason or for that reason, so we have to exercise. It's like writing. You write well when you read a lot, and when you exercise writing every day. It's like the musicians.
Sure, they have to practice it.
They have to practice to
every
be
day.
musicians.
Yeah.
And architecture is the same. I think architecture is the same.
So when you are talking about your team, you mean the team in your office. You already know them and they know you. So how do you manage the work in between you? Are you the leader leading the design, or you let other people's lead the design sometimes? What happens if you do not agree with each other? Because all these things can come.
I'm the leading architect, and right now, for example, when I was in ASVS, we had a team of 6 people. Then I go away from I handed ASVS and found my own studio because we fell apart, me and my partner. So we are friends. We are still friends, but he is on his way and I'm on my way. So I decided to not have a team. And I have a team, but subcontracted team. You understand, for example, for this project, I should work with this engineers, this designer, this architect, and and then we don't have a liberal bounding, but we bound as professionals, as liberal professionals, and I prefer like that because people. When you do something with other architects or with other professionals, if they want to participate, it's because they want that job too, and they are committed to that job. So if you have a team that you pay to your employees, sometimes they don't have the same how can I say, the same enthusiasm that you have on the project. Sometimes they are concerned only in pay their bills and receive their salary, and they don't have the same concern. So I prefer, like, I started to work like that before the pandemic situation. So and for me and for my personal life, I prefer it because I can work here at the office, but I can work in a coffee shop, or I can work in a garden, or I can go to south of Portugal for a week and work from there. So I don't need to be looking out for the team every day. Is more flexible for me, and I prefer it. I prefer this, the way I work now, than before. And I was starting not to be an architect and to be an entrepreneur, and I want to do architecture and not be a business guy, you understand. Most of my work on the late years of ISVS I was leading the team, but I was not drawing. I was concerned and gain new clients, have new projects for all the machine that we need to pay, the taxes and the salaries, and I said to myself, no, I'm tired of this. I want to go to school again. I want to think architecture. I want to draw architecture. So I changed my life, and I'm happy now.
Okay, because teamwork is very important. I understand you that you don't want to be observing a steady team to work better and to work according to what you say. Instead of that, people can come together just because they are paid for single things.
They believe in the same.
Yes, it's okay. I understand you.
For example, the last competition I did that I don't know the result yet was a competition for a museum here near Porto. And I did it with a French couple of architects of mine. They are my colleagues and friends. So they wanted to do a competition in Portugal, and I wanted to do that competition in specific. So we did, the three of us, as co-authors. Not I'm not the author. We are co-authors of the same project, and it was quite interesting to work with them. It was for me. It was. I felt that I was enriching myself, and they felt the same way too, because we combined two different processes into this project, and I was very pleased to work with them. And I'm quite pleased with our proposal. I don't know if we are going to win or not, but I'm very happy with our result, even if we don't win the competition. So let's see.
I see. Okay, I hope good things happen. I hope you win it. So as far as I understand from your sayings, that teamwork is a good thing if you are working for the same purposes with the same level of enthusiasm. If somebody is working with less enthusiasm, then it just breaks everything. It's a blockage.
I believe on that. I believe on that, because you have to work with people that are enthusiasts in the same. And then when we are, for example, when we have enthusiasm with this project in specific, and we share that enthusiasm, is always constructive. I can say a thing, look, this could be interesting, and then the other person, no, yeah, that can be more interesting if we do this and this. And if we are open to each other's minds, so it's you feel that you are how can I say,
improving,
enriching yourself with new ideas and new ways of approaching the project. So I like to work with in a team group when people are committed, because when I don't feel that, sometimes when I feel that I'm the locomotive of the train, and I have to push everyone with me, the result could be okay, but I'm not so happy.
Sure. Okay. So you want to be enriched in the
Yeah, by the others.
experience as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is what you are looking for. It's not only winning. It's not only doing something good design, but enriching your experiential side is important for you.
Yeah, that is important
As
for
I
me, and
understand.
especially with people that I admire. For example,
Okay.
these colleagues of mine, they don't have the same language as me, completely different. They are from another school of architecture. They have, but for example, Fred is more technician, is more, it doesn't dream a lot, but is the guy that we need to have this structure. And Natalina is a little bit, she's a dreamer like me. So, so me and Natalina, we were dreaming, and Fred was putting the things. It was very important because it called us to the reality sometimes, and to the costs, and to the construction economy. So it's important to have sometimes someone on the team that thinks completely different from you, to just to bring you back, or just to think two ways on the same idea. So it was very nice to work with someone that was a little bit like me, with different ideas, but some other architect that is more stuff, more stiff, you know, because and it was very important on this project, I think. And when you see the result, you don't see yourself, you see the three of us, and that is nice. That is nice.
Good. So it's a collaboration of characters and experiences.
Yeah,
and they are all poured into one design. That's the very uniqueness of it. I think it's very good thing. What about writing? I was just going to mention at the beginning. You said that you're writing. What are you writing, and what are you using your writing for in architecture?
I don't publish nothing I write. Just some articles sometimes on papers or magazines or something about architecture, but I write fiction, but I don't publish. I think I don't feel I always feel that I'm a bad writer. I love the process of writing, but I don't think, all my friends tell me, you should publish that, you should, but I think it's not good enough for publishing. So
but maybe you like the world you are creating.
I love literature. I love literature, and I read a lot. Not nowadays, not so much as I would like to, because I don't have time for everything. But I'm a reader, and I like to. It's a way of putting my thoughts down. It's like it's like a meditation for me. Writing is okay. I have this in my head, so I have to put it on paper, just to, and I use fiction to do that. I don't write about things that are autobiographic, but in a sense they are, because it's my observing, it's the way that I observe, and I like to write also about architecture in my notes, some thoughts when I
just thoughts, not criticism, not evaluation, not analysis, but just thoughts.
I just write about the building of other architects when I like it. I don't write when I don't like it. But when I love a building, I try to understand why I love that building. I had a teacher in school it was very important to me. She's an architect here in Porto also, is Teresa Novaes, her name. And she was the teacher that inspired me the most, and she inspires me also as an architect, not only as a teacher. And she always told us that an architect that just knows about architect doesn't know about nothing. You have to be open to other artistic and cultural forms of expression. So, and I love painting, and I love sculpture, and I love dancing, and I love theater, and I love literature. Is for me, it's a way of traveling. You know, it's but you're traveling through the minds of others, and sometimes I don't feel. Sometimes we think we are full, and then you read the book and, oh, there's someone that thinks like me, and you don't feel alone anymore. So it's a way of expressing myself, but I don't think I write quite good. For probably I'm too exigent with myself, but I think I'm a poor writer, so I prefer to be an architect than
I'm sure you are very modest about your writing. I'm sure some professional would tell you to publish it.
I don't have how can I have some friends that I have a Brazilian friend. She always tell me, you should publish this, you should publish this, and she's a writer too. She's a writer on her day-to-day profession, and she always tell me, you need to publish this, but I don't know, I think it's not good enough. Maybe in Turkish you felt the same, but you need to I love my language, so I have a lot of respect for my language and my expression in Portuguese, and so I would like to treat Portuguese as you are doing a piece of jewelry, and sometimes I think I'm not a good artisan to do that.
It's a hard job. Yeah. I understand you, because you had the education of architecture, you had the education of photography. You can think that you're capable of doing those things, but you are doing your literature thing just to make your inner voice active. You're saying,
like sedimenting my thoughts. It's like okay, something happened in my life, or it could be professional or not, and I need to understand that, and so I use characters that are not me. That is, sometimes there are people that I just passing by on the street, and that I felt that connection with that person, and I start to talk about these subjects, but with other person's mind. You understand?
Okay, so you are analyzing what's happening to you by creating characters
and sometimes
making them talk.
For example, in a text, I'm trying to do a novel. I didn't finish it, but I'm trying to do a novel. Probably I will finish and publish one day. I don't know. But for example, there are there are 3 characters, and the first character, and each one has active voice on the novel. So the first one is a woman, and what I was think is the question I had in my head is, could I write like a woman? Could I feel like a woman, or try to feel like a woman? Could I, you understand this?
Sure.
And this is very interesting for me. And then, for example, I took the text and I sent to some friends that I respect their opinion, and I know they are good readers too, just to feel. And for example, sometimes a friend of mine, she told me I was feeling that I was that woman, and so I said, okay, I'm doing in the right way, because it's different when I think it's different. The process, the thinking process of a woman, I think, is different from a man, and that for me was the theme. Could I write as a woman?
I see. It is as if we are talking about literature, but in fact, this is the same thing in architecture. You're putting yourself in somebody else's shoes when you are designing, what other people can feel, what other can experience in a space you create. Do you also feel the same thing? I mean, do you keep parallels?
I don't know your process or other architects' process, but my process is it's like I'm visiting the place. When I think of a building, I don't start. I have this nebula, these stains, but then when it comes to because sometimes I just see, for example, it's like this. Sometimes I'm in my process. I'm trying to explain my process. Sometimes I just feel a glass over here, and I don't know nothing about the rest of the space. But I know there's a glass here, for example, and there's a beautiful tree over there, and there's something over. And I'm starting to, okay, I'm seeing this, and now what I would like to see, and then the ceiling comes, and the texture of the floor comes, and then I start to draw, not to forget. And my process is like that. It's like I'm the one visiting in the first time the building, you understand? For example, with the church, it was like that. I remember we had a meeting with the client, and we have, for example, we have that on the assembly, we have that cube of glass that enlights, and that cube is a substitute for the the tower bell, because we had the other church just aside, and we don't want to do another tower bell just competing with the old one. So we wanted to, the bell means calling, and so we want to call by the light, and this was the purpose, but I didn't have the shape on my head. And one day it was a Saturday, I remember that very well. I was sitting on the sofa just listening to classical music, and I saw that glass cube over my head, and then, okay, how can I put this on the rest of the project that we have? And I started to thinking, and then on Monday I came to office and I said to them, I have the idea for the assembly roof. And it's like that, and we start to design together the shape, but and the structure of the shape. But the idea came just like, I have this corner in my head and I don't know nothing about the rest, and I will discover. It's like that.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you very much for explaining it so detailed, because we see that everything is linked to each other. I mean, you're concentrating on different things, the music, the writing, the photography, the images you collect, you store in mind, characters you create in your writing. They all come together and they become an amalgamation, and they just light the bulb, let's say.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. And for example, I was talking about my teacher, and one thing she said to me that is, I still use it today, is when I'm, for example, when I'm in nature, or when I'm in a room or a cafe or a restaurant, if I feel good there, I ask myself why.
Good.
It's because of the light, it's because of the view, it's because of the people. That's
so you reason the goodness.
When I'm in a space, it doesn't matter if it is outdoors or indoors, and I'm feeling good, and I feel peaceful, and or I'm having fun. For example, if we are in a group, I ask myself why all the time. I'm doing this constantly. It's like I go out for a
It's an
coffee.
instinct.
Yeah, I'm going
It
out
comes.
for a
Yeah.
coffee after talking to you, and then if I'm okay, I'm always thinking why. And in my projects, I try to translate these sensations. Sometimes I reach, sometimes I don't, sometimes I'm pleased with the final result, sometimes I'm not, because you know, architecture is a very long process. It starts in our ideas, in our heads, but then you have to translate it to the team, to the technician team, to the engineers. Then we have the client, then we have the economic constrictions, then we have the laws and all the regulations of legislation. Then we have the construction team, and it's very easy. A detail that you thought and you design is very easy. If the guy doesn't pay attention in the construction, you lose this. And before, for me, that was panicking, and right now I think some years of practice gave me this: you cannot control everything. So you will not control the minimum detail of everything, so you just let things go. And sometimes I think this is the school versus the reality, because in the school, and I can tell by the Portuguese school, they are very tough with us in the school. They are very the rigor. We have to be accurate, rigorous, and I think that is important. But sometimes it's not.
Not
For example,
natural, maybe.
yeah, it's not natural. We cannot control everything, so because this could be an obsession, and I don't want it to be an obsession. And another thing that I learned, and for you all, I think is I love my profession. I love to be an architect. I hope I would be an architect the rest of my life, but I love my life better than I love my profession. This is a part of my life. It's not all my life. So, and sometimes we architects, we think that architecture is our life. And when I start to think differently, okay, this is a part of my life, but not my life, I'm more happy. And using the words of another teacher of mine in the school, if we are happy, we are doing good architecture. So
Good.
just to close.
Good. Although these were very good direct messages to our students, I just want to go back to the topic of
the
competitions, and I want to end with that. Also, I'm going to give place to. I want to give place to questions if there are any. I don't know. John is collecting them. He's going to ask you, but I just want to finish my questions with some tactics, some strategies you can give, you can recommend. You said lots of things for them. Sure that they can use each, or they can use it as much as they want, in pairs, in trees. It's okay, but are there any very specific things that you would recommend students of nowadays? I mean, we are living in 21st century, and life is getting faster, everything is chaotic, and there is pandemic. People are not motivated well. So how do you think they can keep themselves with architecture without doing it an obsession, but still interested in and still loving it and still doing it naturally? What are the ways of following architecture, having the soul of architecture in yourself?
I think if you believe it, if you believe in what you are doing, is the way. For example, I passed several years of very tough years between 2010 and 2013, because we had no work here in Portugal because of the economical crisis. And I was 33, 32 at the time, and I was asking my mom's help for my practice financially. And it was like a punch in the heart to me, because I'm 33 years old and I have to ask help to my mom to manage my life. So it was critical for me in that period. And I thought too, I will do something else. I will not do architecture, and I will do another job. But then you just don't want to quit. I don't know. I have so much passion for this because I don't want to quit easily. So, and things are tough.
It's not obsession, but it's passion.
It's passion, yeah. Okay. Things are tough. And for example, then I sometimes I heard some architects like Sotomora, for example. Sotomora is a very good example, because for 2 times in his practice, he stayed without work, any client, and he thought also of quitting architecture and do something else. And it's a Pritzker Prize right now. So when you believe, and things are not easy. One thing I will say to students is not, things are not easy. We have
but don't give up.
We have to find the strength to, for example, right now we are in a good moment in architecture here in Portugal. There's a lot of work and a lot of construction right now. But I remember those years, there was nothing. At the time we were doing international competitions, one after the other, to have some work.
Practice,
And passion is very important, but it's a commitment. But that's okay if, for example, I have a lot of friends from my generation, my year. They're colleagues and friends that they're not doing architecture. They are doing, for example, they are in the tourism area or in the real estate area, but they are doing really nice things. For example, I have a couple of friends of mine.
Can we say that they are doing their things architecturally? That's why they are doing it very well.
Yeah, for example, I will give this example because it is paradigmatic of what I'm saying. They are a couple, and they are the two of them, they are architects, and they didn't have work in that period of the economical crisis. So they went abroad to Germany to work for 2 years. They managed to get some money there, working to other offices in architecture, and then they come back to Portugal. They just bought a little house here in Porto that they transformed with their architectural work. And right now they live they started with that house, and they create a really nice concept of tourism for designers and for people that love architecture. And they started with this house, and right now they have 4 projects done by them, but their earning day-to-day basis is the tourism, is the renting of the houses, not the architecture itself. So it's a way of doing things, and architects usually are creative people. We should be creative with our own lives, and and not all can be Pritzker prizes, so we have just to accept this.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you very much. These were my questions. In fact, I wonder, my colleague John, if he collected any questions or not. I think audience may have some questions to you. The ones
I'm
who
free
didn't
now because I don't
questions,
have the
maybe.
meeting, so I'm free to talk.
Okay, thank you very much. In fact, it's lovely to talk to you, to interview you. John, is there any question?
Yes, there are. I've been listening to Mr. Barros. Thank you for being with us. Our students are all enthusiastic about listening, a professional working on the job. They are trying to become an architect, and they're happy to listen to a professional like you. And they sent some questions, and I really want to classify them. And I found out that they're actually in the time of the semester where they got stuck on their projects, when they are just before submitting them and they are stuck. They have problems in design processes, and they want to ask you, what do you do when you get stuck in a project, when you have a deadline to submit, and when you have something blocking your way going through to the end of the project? What do you do? They asked me a specific question about that.
It's very easy. I can show you the answer. Do you see that bike over there? I just stop working and I go out for a ride, and then I come back to the office, more quiet, and I start to redesign and rethinking things again. So it's what I do.
Yeah, thank you.
When things are blocking, the better way is not just to for me is to do something completely different that relaxes you, and then you gain some distance from the problem and you just come back to it with an open-minded. So it's what I do.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be inspiring. Another thing that they might be interested in is the other side of the competition process, as you have been a jury for a competition such as they are going to enter in the end of this year. They want to know if the jury team really takes what into consideration firstly. Is it the renderings? Is it the participants' answer to the problem stated by the competition? Is it the delicate drawings, or is it the they are asking, can a quality render win a competition just by himself, by itself?
For me, no. For me, no. I think it's important, the presentation, because, for example, when we are analyzing a competition, we have like 40 entries to analyze. And then the ones that kept our attention first, not by the rendering of the 3D, but the overall presentation, the ones that kept our attention at the first moment are the ones that we are spending more time in the analysis. When the presentation is not good or is too weak, you just want to do this and not to see the project. You understand? It's
yes,
like,
of course.
It's easier when you have a good presentation. Doesn't mean, for example, that should be extremely well done 3D. Sometimes could be hand drawing, but good hand drawing. You understand? Like the overall presentation must take the attention of the one that is going to analyze, and then we start to see the proposal on the specific points. So not the 3D, but the presentation overall should be inviting to the one who is going to analyze. For me, sometimes I prefer more artistic 3D, for example, than the real image like a photography. Sometimes I prefer, I want to see an expression of the architect. You understand? I prefer to see the expression of the architect than quite well done 3D.
I see. You mean you want to see as a jury the architects, the participants' personal answer, personal intuition to the project, to the problem, and it should be well expressed in the drawings. Either it's a 3D or it's a hand drawing or anything, but it must be expressed in the drawings and should be in the jury's attention, should take jury's attention and keep them interested in the poster, not to swipe it away at the first glance.
And another thing that for me is important is the way they structure the presentation. So when we look at a panel and everything is messy, we have text, images, and drawings. For me, is to confuse. Sometimes is to be objective. Like this is our idea, and we have like a conceptual drawing, and then for this idea we have the main drawing or the plan drawing and just an image, but a very good image. So at the first glance, you understand all the project. So that for me is important, to express in a way that the other person will interpret it quickly. You understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank you for your speech on many other subjects that will help our students. You have talked about collaboration with other peers. You have talked about having an influence and from in the architecture and from other persons out of architecture. You have talked about team dynamics when working in team groups, and you talked about different kind of interest areas to enrich yourselves, and also you talked about them in a way our students can enrich their projects, their submissions on their competition projects. It has been very helpful if they really follow what you have said, and I'd like to thank you all for this contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and thank you for inviting me. It's always interesting when we discuss these things with other people. I will be in Turkey next September. I will do a road trip in Turkey. So I hope COVID let me go there, and I don't have. But I booked in September 15 days. I will do the West Coast by car, just staying here, and over there. So I hope it's my first time in Turkey. So I think I will love it.
You are going to love it.
Good. We are glad to hear that. I think we should have more you in our studio. Do you have some studios in Portugal in education?
I can studios like yours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm
sometimes maybe
I'm a little bit out of the academic world here because
that's good. We are looking for someone who is out of the academy, because we just know each other very well, and we know our worlds, we know our methods very well. So a fresh look, a fresh ideas, fresh methods are welcomed, if you wish, of course. Just 1 or 2 hours. I would like to invite you again.
It's valuable what you are doing, because right now I think people, before the internet, people met in the coffees, and we talked in the coffees, and we have like this meetings with colleagues, and right now each one is in his place or her place, and people doesn't talk. They just check the the images on the phone and there's no talk. And that's important to what you are doing. I don't remember right now a group, but I can talk to a friend of mine because he's a teacher at Guimarães School. And probably Rui must know something there. And I can talk about you to Nataline and Fred. You can see their work on errar and Costa.com, I think. And probably it will be nice if you talk to them because they are very interesting architects and people. So probably they will tell something I didn't tell. So
maybe
you could invite them
come together as a group, then as a bigger group, maybe. Why not?
And Natalina loves because she's a member of the French College of Architects, and she's organizing a lot of activities over there. So probably for you and for them will be enriching and make some bridges over crossing Europe.
Thank you very much for bridging us, but also I would like the bridge in between us, it is you, because we give professionals importance. I mean, they are they seem that they are very far away from the academy, but we think that that they should be involved. Of course, you cannot be involved as I am involved, or as your friends, your academic friends are involved. But sometimes just talking about one design maybe also would help a lot, would open our students' minds a lot. And also we can negotiate. I mean, it's not only we that learning from you, you can also learn from something else, so that there is nicer and bigger exchange. Let's try once more with a bigger group. I would be very happy.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Vitor.
Thank you for your invitation.
Accept my invitation.
Okay, and I hope they don't stay quite mad with me for not
of course not.
Their project. But then you, after you sent me the first email, I went again to see their proposal, and I remember the proposal is very organic and what on their specific proposal. I understood the idea of a building that is a pathway and has some 3 specific points, but I thought that you have like the corridor idea, but then the rooms, I think they were not quite well explored. In terms of materiality and of the space itself. It was like 3 round places that could be, they're round, but they could be square. There was not a specific purpose for each of the 3 spaces. That's for me, that was the fragility of the work. I enjoy the idea of the path walk, of a building that you just travel the building, and that idea is very interesting. They were not the only ones on the competition doing this approach, but I think for example, the one who won the competition was doing the same approach, but with stronger.
It was more skillful.
Yeah, it was the same kind of approach to the building, like a corridor building, a side wall just parallel to the wall, the main wall, and I didn't understand that. It seems like just a shape for me. You understand?
Sure.
I needed more purpose, more purpose to make it stronger. That's my appreciation of the project.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but they will do more competitions and they will win some.
Sure. Thank you very much for sharing this critic with us, because I mean, you don't have to say everything.
I don't know my colleagues what they thought about the specific this specific project, but I'm telling you my
Sure.
understanding.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing it.
So
It's
just
very kind of you.
just for them to know.
Okay. I'm very thankful to you, and very thankful to your client as well. So you didn't meet, and you were with us for longer than we imagined.
With the client and the constructor, and then the constructor could not go today, so they passed it tomorrow. So
okay, I'm very thankful to them too. Thanks a lot for accepting our invitation, and thanks a lot for nearly 2 hours of speaking. I think it flowed very naturally, and I'm very happy
to invitation as well.
To invite
so
you
we
as
keep
well.
in touch. We keep in touch.
Please.
Okay.
If there is nothing else to talk, my dear friends, we can say goodbye to each other for tonight.
We have a last question.
Oh, really?
Yes. Do you have a certain way to manage the time you have? Because sometimes process can take so much time than expected. Do you have any tips to manage the time has given, Mr. Barros?
Time is a problem in architecture. So I try to do this. I'm not the best example, because sometimes I work till late at night. So, but for example, I started to when I start to work by myself. I'm working from home right now. This is my office, but I live upstairs. So in the first months that I was living like this, I was almost working I slept like 5 hours, 6 hours a day, and then work. And I said to myself, I cannot continue like this. So I have, and I start to do a routine, but not go out of this routine. For example, I always go at the gym before starting to work. I start to work at 9, for more or less at 7:30, I go to the gym. Then I come back more relaxed and I start to work. On the morning, I prefer to work on creative process because there's no phone ringing, or I shut my phone. Otherwise, I cannot work. So then I have lunch, and after lunch I do all the stuff that is you need to do, like sending emails, receiving emails, calling the constructors, calling the clients, accepting all the calls. I prefer to work in the morning on the hand creative stuff, and on the afternoon work on the computer and be more able to talk with clients and things like that. And sometimes I do this just to get out. When I'm stuck, I go on a bike, and sometimes for example, I try to do this. I don't know if it works for everybody, but for me is a good thing. On Wednesday, I'm never at the office. I take Wednesday to go to the work sites, to the construction sites. So for example, if I do 2 construction sites in the morning and another construction site on the afternoon, the rest of the day I don't work. I just go out with a friend, or I go to my family, or I just pick the car and go, I don't know, just to by the sea, or and I do this at the middle of the week because it's good. You go out from the office at the middle of the week is very good, because this way out of the office sometimes is good for your head when you are stuck on the project. So I try to manage, but I'm very Spartan on this. Otherwise, we work every night, and then we slept in the morning. And no, I start this hour, end this hour, start this like this, and do it every day. Because if you work a little bit on every project every day, you manage to do the things. I sometimes it's difficult, but in competition is a little bit like school. We work till the but for example, on this competition in specific, the last one I did with my friends, for example, I don't have kids, but my friends, they have kids, and they have a family, and they have to be there to their kids. So we decided we wouldn't work at night, and we wouldn't work late at night. We have to do everything by day, because for the night I'm single, but they are a couple and they have kids, and it's for families, for their lives. So architecture is what I was saying. Architecture is a part of our lives, not our lives. So, but we need to be passionate about it.
So I understand you are on architecture when you're on the work. When you're out, you're really out.
I'm really out. Yeah.
You don't do both.
No, when I'm working, for example, sometimes I have the lady that does the house cleaning, and she's talking to me, and I'm not answering.
You don't hear. Okay.
I'm very concentrated
Full
on
concentration. Okay. Yes,
I'm
that's
very
what I'm.
concentrated on my work. When I'm working, I'm working. When I go out, I'm out. And I try to be. For example, then it depends of each person, but when you have several years of practice, you start to, even in the computer, and you have the designing phase, then the license phase, then the execution project, then the work in the site. So I managed, for example, on the same day, I could work on 3 different projects sometimes. Right now, I'm with 12 projects at the same time. Some are ending the construction, some are starting on designing phase. But for example, I divide like that. On the morning, I start to work on the new projects because I'm more fresh and I'm more quiet, and so I prefer to work on the design phases on the morning. For example, today I did that. I work on design phase of a project on the morning, and then on the afternoon I'm doing a license I'm preparing a license for another project. So and I do like a table. Mine is an Excel. It's not.
Sure, I'm sure happy it is.
That I put some, for example, this not every task. This week I need to finish that phase of this project and that phase of that project, and this and this, for example. And I try to accomplish that, because otherwise we and sometimes, for example, when we are stuck in the idea, it's better to put it aside and do something more productive. For example, if you are doing execution drawings, you already know the idea, you already know what you want to design. It's just technical drawings. So when I'm not in the mood of thinking, or I don't have an idea, okay, I put that aside I let this client wait a little bit, but then I go to a project that I could do like and I work fast on the technical part. I work fast. So when I'm not in the mood for creation, or I go on a bike, or I put, if I have a lot of work, okay, I'm doing something productive, like technical drawings, or paper that you need to write to a license, or documental stuff, or something, or the websites, uploading pictures to Instagram, and to make the commercial part of the thing. I didn't talk about that, but it's very important too. Right now,
together is very important.
right now, I feel that almost my clients came because they know my work on site, or they know someone that worked with me, or they come from the internet. I have almost half of my clients came to me with I don't know them, they don't know me, they just saw the website, they identify what with my work, and then they managed to meet me, and we start to, and I think a good website, a good Instagram, I prefer less but good. I have colleagues that think otherwise, just putting. I don't have time for that, and I don't like that part. So I do, when I don't have nothing to do, I will do the website, and I will do the upload pictures on Instagram or something. But this is important. Right now, I think I don't go out to search for work. The work comes to me. But in the beginning,
sure,
it was not like that. I needed to go knocking on the doors to have projects. So, and that is a tough part, because usually artists or creative people don't like to do this kind of job. And it's a very important task, because otherwise we don't survive, and we need to pay bills, every one of us. So this is, you should ask something in someone in your group, or an architect, or a manager of a office, a little office or a big office, to talk about these subjects, because we don't learn this at school.
sure.
And then we come to the real world.
Teaches you.
And you have to, this is important, because we cannot be architects if we don't have demand. So we need to search for that demand. So and right now, fortunately, I don't need to do a lot like I did in the past. For example, my partner, his job was almost getting new projects. It was not, it was part of the creative team, but 70% of his work in ISVS was finding new clients, finding new, and that is important, because otherwise we don't manage. Competitions are a solution. But if you are doing competition after competition without putting money on the office, sometimes you cannot do competitions because you don't have to eat. So
thank you. I think we started with competitions. We talked about the fate competition, and also we touched every single critical point of running the business of architecture, starting with the design and finishing it with the marketing.
Yeah, it's important. It's
very important. Yes, you underline it in the same way you do.
I think for me and my colleagues, the ones that I have a good relationship, and we are friends, and we are colleagues from school also, and it's a thing that none of us likes, but everyone know it's important, because
Sure,
otherwise we don't
sure,
have
sure.
work. So
Thank you very much, Vitor.
thank
It
you
was a
again.
beautiful evening with you, and I hope we repeat it in some other context.
Okay.
Maybe with your friends, with some other friends from Turkey, or just something like a jury or something else. I don't know. I'm going to think about
Okay,
this
just think
next
about that,
again.
and it was very nice talking to you also.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
I can pass something
Sure.
to students and to the people on the group. So this is my experience. I'm not so successful like that.
No. This is the exact thing I was looking for. I'm not looking for a architect because we have too many of them, but I want to contact and I want to have a dialogue with normal people, normal architects. I don't want the superstars. You see, they're a different category. And thank you very much for.
I think it's important each one of us choose what we want to do.
Sure.
And for example, when I started my practice, I started with a company with 6 more people that I was the employer, and me and my partner, and we started like that. And I, in this phase of my life, is not what I want for me. I prefer less work, best well-paid work, less work, and have a life too. So it doesn't matter if I will be a Pritzker or not. The most important for me
I
is.
hope you win. I hope you win. I think you deserve it, and I
it's
hope.
not my objective. I want to be.
Sure. I
want
can
to do
understand
my.
it, but I hope you.
I want to live my life in a decent way, because we need to work and contribute to society.
Sure.
And I see architecture as a contribute to the society, as paying taxes and as our job. So in 2 ways. So it's important if we contribute to the society and live a decent life. But it's very important for me right now in this phase of my life, my well-being, and this is more important than architecture for me right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I love architecture. I think I can pass this passion when I'm talking about.
Yes, you did it very well. Thank you very much. It was a very good one. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight, and hope we repeat it in some other context in near future. I don't know when, I don't know under which circumstances, but be sure we will meet again.
Just text me.
Thanks a lot.
Send me an email and we
Let's
are
keep
talking
contact.
about. I'm easy going. You don't need to have too much formalities. Okay.
Good night. Let's
Bye-bye.
Good night now. Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.